Buenos noches, amigos. I am Jack Webster here with Matt Galveo and Matt LeBeau here with another episode of Not Another Sox podcast. Gentlemen, recording on a Sunday morning today. How you doing?
Good. Got my Dunkin' iced coffee here. So can't get any more Boston than that.
You got your Dunkies?
Got my Dunkies. Went to the Dunks. The line was fucking on the street. Yeah, I mean, great way to start off a Sunday. We got a lot of stuff going on here, so I had to grab the iced coffee. Got the Pats in a few hours, and then got the Bruins at night. So can't get any more Boston than that. Great Sunday coming up. Weather's getting cold. Winter's coming. Almost December here in the next couple of days. So we're in the grind of winter.
Yeah, for sure. This is a classic New England winter Sunday. Patriots are playing a big AFC game. Bruins have a pretty big tilt tonight, and the off season for baseball is in full swing. So it is getting cold though. People are starting to bundle up. A lot of chatter.
Yeah. That's another conversation starter now. Is like the cold weather.
Right now it's the cold.
It's like, it's pretty cold outside today. It's like, yeah. It's like 30 degrees out.
Yeah, no. That's shit, what
happened. Exactly. Yeah. That's just how it is now. It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah. We're while we're on it with the Boston sports, we should not forget about the forgotten child of the New England Revolution actually being in the playoffs too.
That's
Revs
right.
Year.
Yep.
Revs year.
It's their year. Their year.
Yep.
When their first playoff game is, what was it, next week or this week?
It's Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday. You're going to be in attendance, right?
Yep.
Whoa.
It's going to be freezing. I'm going to freeze my balls and dick off, but it's going to be worth it.
That's all right, dude. You're going to be cheering on the Revs, making a push here for the Cup.
Yeah.
Also, Jack, got to mention that jersey. Well, there's some controversy with this jersey right now, but.
So we got the classic gold bear on here. Let me see if this actually shows up on the back. Probably not because I didn't do it before, but number one for it fits great. I've had this jersey my entire life, and I'm never gonna give it up again.
That's my jersey.
Then why am I wearing it?
It's mine.
Whatever you say. Yeah.
Yep. Shit. So we got Jack with the Rafael Devers background here, showing his support. Looking for that contract extension, hopefully coming at some point. Would love to have that. So Jack, he had the Simeon one. Was that last episode, and then
I had the Schwarber one because that's
Schwarber. That's right.
The Cold Now Mountain Dew.
Cold Mountain Dew. That's actually, I feel like people are actually really starting to pick up on the Cold Now Mountain Dew. People are liking that.
Right. Well, it's cold now, and it is cold now outside. So the Schwarber family actually has gone from, instead of putting their Mountain Dew in the fridge, they're actually just putting it on the porch.
Right.
And where they can just grab it pretty easily, because it's not quite freezing all the time yet, but it's cold enough where they can just say, "Hey, Kyle, just grab me one from the porch." And
it's cold now.
Right. And they have extra room in the fridge for the Thanksgiving leftovers.
Yeah. Yep.
They're really just doing it for the environment. It's quite economical,
nature,
and I support them.
Right.
Nature is their refrigerator right now.
Right. Ohio is the most environmentally conscious state in the U.S. per statistics.
Capita.
Yes, per my statistics.
Yeah.
So they're good job, Schwarber family. Appreciate it. My grandkids will thank you.
Very green. Very green.
Green
like Mountain Dew.
Green like Mountain Dew. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They brined their turkey in Mountain Dew.
Yeah, exactly. Marinating Mountain Dew.
Yep.
They pour voltage onto their mashed potatoes and their corn and everything instead of gravy.
It's a Mountain Dew compote.
Their gravy is like a mix of Mountain Dews. It's Code Red, Voltage, all mixed together in a thick gravy. But yeah, going on to some of the Red Sox news that we've had here in the past week or so. Alex Cora is going to be around for the next few seasons after his option gets picked up. So he'll be here for the 23 and 24 seasons as well. So obviously a huge get for the Sox for the next few years here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in a few years we're going to look back and just forget Cora did not actually manage in 2020. Like he's just going to be that long-term manager that we have, kind of like what a lot of people imagined Terry Francona was going to be before 2011, because everybody just thought he was going to be one of those guys with the organization for 20 years. And I mean, I could see, Cora staying with the team even way beyond that 2024 contract extension. Now I could see him being, one of those guys that you just put together with the Red Sox, kind of like a Socha with the Angels, or a longtime Tony La Russa with the Cardinals. Like he's just going to be one of those managers in Boston.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely see him heading toward this is the place he's going to be for a very, very long time. I can see him being like, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but like a two-team manager, maybe like, have his run with the Red Sox for a lot of years, maybe like 20 years, and then finish it out maybe like in Miami or something like that, because he's, from there. But nonetheless, I feel like when you look back on it, like you said, you're not going to remember that Renicky managed in 2020. No one remembers Bobby Valentine other than the punchlines. No one remembers John Kerrigan. Those are just guys that they managed for a year, failed, and they were just a stopgap to the next guy. For Cora, he was the guy before and he was the guy after Renicky. So that won't ever really be remembered or talked about. But kudos to Ron Renicky. I mean, he was a sacrificial lamb, so he served the purpose.
Right.
Much needed for that team. Just kind of a guy that they knew was just going to leave after the year, and managed a dog shit team. Got him a good draft pick. Didn't have Valdi or Sale really for the whole year, or Erod. So kudos to Renner.
Yep. He really just took a hit to make a play, and you got to love that.
Yep.
But I mean, Alex Cora, just, as a manager since coming here from Houston, I feel like he's just one of those guys in the league that just has such a great feel for his team and his players. And I feel like he knows, what buttons to push at what time. And I feel like he's just one of those managers. I don't really know if there's anybody, if you guys could think of anybody that is in the league that is kind of like a Cora, where it just feels like he just knows how to manage his team and how to manage his players and what to do at what time. He just has a great feel for his entire lineup. And I think that's what makes him so great. And that's why he's had so much success, as a manager.
Yeah, I feel like he's pretty much the complete opposite of Tony La Russa with the White Sox. Like he actually knows about his players and actually lets them be themselves, apart from when Eddie tapped his wrist. And even then, it wasn't a big deal. He wasn't like, we don't do that here, unlike with Mercedes and Tony La Russa. So, no, he's the perfect guy for the job, not only managing wise, but handling the media and, making sure that a lot of the young players feel welcomed and get their own playing time. So just him being a former player helps out with that so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it's important. I think the bilingual thing is very important. They have a lot of guys that, it's good to make them feel comfortable. When you have your manager being able to speak Spanish. I mean, Devers barely speaks any English. It's getting better. Like you hear the clips. They pay me good. I hit home runs. Like, why would I be set? Like those are the things where I feel like Devers can be himself, and all those young guys can feel comfortable. Cora does an excellent job of that. But to answer your question, is there anyone else in the league like him? I really don't think so. I mean, if you're looking at it, 1 through 30, I don't think that there's anyone else. I mean, Kevin Cash is a good manager. I feel like he's got a pretty good handle. But also, he doesn't have to handle the media. There's like one guy that follows the Rays in Tampa. It's the guy that tweets all the breaking news, the TV Times guy.
Yeah.
And he's like the only guy that reports on the team. There's like 1,000 reporters breathing down AC's neck at all times of the day. I mean, it's like you're like a paparazzi getting followed around when you're the manager of the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So.
Like Kevin Cash can go into a grocery store or coffee shop in Tampa or St. Petersburg and just be another guy. Alex Cora can't do that in Boston.
No, not even Boston, but anywhere in Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, like anywhere, Alex Cora is going to get recognized by someone. And that's really the biggest challenge of being a manager in Boston. You are just, everyone is breathing down your neck 24 hours a day.
Yeah. And it's tough. I mean, the way he's able to manage that, like I said, LeBeau and Jack, I mean, being in Boston and having to manage, the constant media frenzy, sports talk radio, all of that, and still being able to have success, is just is a credit to him. And obviously he's played, I mean, as a player, he's been in Boston, so maybe that gives him a little bit of an advantage because he kind of knows what the media is like, and he kind of has a little bit of an upper hand because he played here, years ago. But yeah, I mean, the way, like you said, the way he's able to manage the media and manage being in New England, probably the biggest sports market, in the country, aside from New York. I mean, that, it really is amazing what he's done, since coming from the Astros.
Oh, we got some breaking news on the podcast here.
Yep.
Corey Kluber and the Rays just saw the notification. Corey Kluber and the Rays on a 1-year deal. So Yankee fans are up in arms.
Yankees are out on Corey Kluber.
I think that's really interesting that the Rays got last year's Cy Young Award winner according to preseason predictions from the Yankees. The Klubot is 100% back. He's going to be healthy. He's going to throw you 200 innings and going to win the Cy Young Award. Now I actually fear that might happen with a competent organization that, is able to do things with their pitchers. So that one, we'll see if he's just able to stay on the mound because, when he's on the mound, he's a pretty good pitcher. But
he is. That's
really just been the biggest thing for him,
Yeah. No, I'm glad that happened. That was an NASP podcast first where we got some breaking news on the show. So that was pretty cool. Now we need the Red Sox to do.
That's another notch on the belt for you, LeBeau. That you were the first NAS post to break news on a podcast. Over here. Scoop.
You just need a bow tie like Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah.
And be like 3 feet tall, and then you're good.
Yeah. What a dick that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, good, news on the AL East front with Corey Kluber, and other news with the AL East and the Rays that we were talking about before we started recording is Wander Franco, signing that 12-year deal, to be with the Rays here. I believe it's $223 million for Wander Franco. So a huge contract for him and the Rays, and obviously in the AL East as well. Very talented young player, signing a long-term deal in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, great for that organization that they're actually able to sign up somebody, because we can't complain about them not doing anything. And then when they do something, it sucks for us because Wander Franco is going to be a stud. I mean, who knows if he gets quite to the level of like Mike Trout or Bryce Harper or one of those guys, but it was definitely, a great rookie season there. He even got some love for Rookie of the Year, only playing like 70 some odd games. But I mean, there is some risk there. I mean, that's an essential marriage, especially for an organization like that. I know it's backloaded with a lot of the money coming in at like $25 million after when he would be arbitration eligible. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's good for them now, but it also might have them not being able to make some of the moves that they want to in the future.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see the Rays spending money. I mean, it's not good for us, but I think, like you said, it's good for the organization. Bottom line is they're going to have money to spend. I know they don't do well in attendance, but the TV market shares that they get whenever you do well, win the division, make the playoffs, things like that. I mean, you're going to have money coming in. You're going to be a profitable organization, just how it works. For Franco, I mean, the only risk with that, obviously, he's a good player, but there is risk because the way it's set up is to incentivize them to continue to develop. So the problem is he's not a fully developed baseball player. He's just not. No one can be at that age. It's physically impossible. He's excellent, and he absolutely will murder the Red Sox for a lot of years. But when you get a little too comfortable, I mean, you have to maintain that work ethic to continue to develop. Because, I mean, you're going to get figured out, and then you're going to have to make adjustments, and then you're going to get figured out again. You're going to have to make another adjustment. It's just how the natural progression goes if you want to be a Hall of Famer. There's definitely risk for that low of a market size to commit to that much money is for sure risky. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, LeBeau, there's a lot of unknown with Wander Franco. So it definitely is, like you said, a risk for the Rays in the organization, but they're building something really well. I mean, they're a good team. So obviously being able to sign a young piece like him and have him there for, those, for the next, 12 seasons is big for them. And, like you mentioned, Jack, as well, they haven't really been able to keep a lot of their talent. So hopefully, being able to keep him around for the long term, they're starting to build something here and they're going to be a good team for a lot of years. And obviously that starts with Wander Franco. And, if he's able to develop, they got, a great and, talented baseball player as well there. So obviously a huge signing for the Rays. And obviously that has a lot of trickle down effect to the rest of the AL East, as well.
Yeah. But I mean, one other thing I wanted to touch upon just before we move on to anything else. There is a good chance that he's playing in a different uniform, even if that contract does not get traded. I mean, he might be splitting some time up in Montreal. He might be in Nashville. He might be who knows where. But I mean, there's a good chance that, he outlasts the Tampa Bay Rays in that contract does. They don't trade him because there is no trade clause in there. He could just be dealt at any time. He's going to earn 10-4 or 10-5 rights at some point in it, but it's not going to be for a while. So we'll see, what actually happens around that contract, even, than money wise and even with the Rays.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown factors. And that's the other thing. I mean, there's kind of risk on Franco's part as well. You don't know what the Rays are going to be doing in 5 years or even 2 years, where they're going to be playing. Does he even know what the weather's like in Montreal? I mean, does he know how fucking cold it is in April and October in Montreal?
Yeah.
Like he's I mean, I don't even think he went to high school. So does he even know? Like there's a lot of risk. I mean, he might get to Montreal and be like, dude, you need to trade me like now. This is I can't play in 30-degree weather, or even if they have like a dome, right? If they play in Olympic Stadium, which is inside, and he's like walking to the stadium and he's like freezing his dick off. I mean, you don't know. There's just so many things. Nonetheless, though, I mean, I fear the man. He keeps me up at night. I do not like playing against him. He torments the Red Sox in that short amount of time that he's been in the big leagues.
I feel like he
playoffs too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like you mentioned LeBeau. He's just going to be one of those guys that's going to be like a thorn in the side of the Red Sox for a lot of years. If he stays in Tampa, he's just going to be one of those guys. Like every at bat he comes up, and like every like important moment, like if they have a lot of series in the playoffs, like it's just going to be like this guy. Like every time he comes up to bat, it's like this guy's going to fucking do something. This guy's going to hit a fucking moonshot or whatever it is. Like he's going to make a fucking play. And it's gonna fucking cost us.
Yep. Oh yeah, we all know who it was, dude. The Blue Jays, they were never like all that great when they had Batista and Encarnacion. They made the playoffs one time. I think they lost to the Rangers, or maybe they made it a couple of times. But those guys absolutely murdered the Red Sox, and they did it at Fenway, and it was just torture. Those are the two guys that come to mind, though, the most. Just murdered us.
Yeah.
Not Brett Gardner.
not Red Gardner.
Because he's been annoying for about 12 plus years now, since I was in middle school, and now I'm an adult with a 401k. Like trust me, I'm thoroughly annoyed with this dude.
Yeah, I hate Brett Gardner, but I got to be honest, I've never feared him. I mean, he has been a pest, but I've never necessarily feared him. Franco, dude, I get the chill when Franco comes up.
I feel like Brett Gardner is just one of those guys that's just fucking annoying. Like, it's just his face is annoying.
Yeah. Oh,
not like his ability or what he does on the field. It's more of just like, oh, fucking this guy again. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
it feels like he bats twice around every order.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fucking up again. Like, I swear he was just 3 batters ago.
Yeah, I hate Brett Gardner, and I wouldn't be surprised. We got some breaking news about Corey Kluber signing with the Rays. I wouldn't be surprised if we're recording. We get some breaking news that Gardner signed a 2-year contract with the Yankees.
Dude, you know what? That's gonna happen on one of these off-season episodes. Is we're gonna get our next breaking news is gonna be Brett Gardner. Doing it. Yeah, it is. It just is.
That would be awesome.
Like that's just it's gonna happen.
A 2-year deal too. 2 years, $10 million. I need that,
exactly.
please.
Like it's just enough where it's just annoying.
Yep.
But in other Yankee news, since we're on that, Clint Frazier released by the Yankees, so no more trade rumors surrounding him and Miguel Andujar.
Yes.
Can we have a moment of silence for those memes? Okay, thank you.
Those, yes, we mourn the death today of once great meme and Miguel Andujar and Clint Frazier for every player in Major League Baseball. It's a sad day.
My absolute favorite, this was a poll from 2018 some Yankees fan put out. Would you trade Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Justice Sheffield, and some other guy for Jacob deGrom? And it was like 87%.
They all said no. They are delusional. They are absolutely delusional. Psychopaths.
That's why, like, it's so hard for me to get, like, jazzed up about, like, Jason Dominguez and any of their prospects, because they've become us from a few years ago where all these prospects were so hyped up and just none of them pan out, or they're in the majors for a bit, but they're not all-stars. We were the kings of that between, like, 2005 and 2015 even, where until, like, Mookie and Xander and Devers came up, like, we just had like these top 100 prospects every year that just never worked out, and now that's the New York Yankees.
It is. Thank God for like Mookie and Xander and those guys to develop, because the Swiharts, the Anthony Renatos, the Henry Owens, the Lars Andersons of the world, like the hype train surrounding those guys really was so embarrassing for Red Sox fans. Those guys all stunk. They were horrible players, horrible players, and they never were even close to being good in the big leagues.
Dude, Henry Owens is like the big one. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna pan out. This guy's gonna be a pitcher, man. He's gonna be great.
Oh, he looks like freaking playing Kershaw. So embarrassing.
As every year it was like, oh yeah, Henry Owens, this is the year. This guy's nasty. He's a filthy pitcher. It's just like, okay.
And then Ben Cherington refused to trade any of them for anybody. And then here comes Davey Dombrowski. He's like, oh yeah, you want Anderson Espinosa for Drew Pomeranz? Fuck it, sure. Do you want Manny Margot and like Ryan Kalish for Craig Kimbrell? Here, you got it. So, and if you actually look at a lot of those Dombrowski trades, we didn't really give up too much actual major league talent to anybody. There were some guys that, played every day, but they weren't quite all-stars. So, right. I mean, that was really kind of the big difference between Cherington and Dombrowski.
Yeah. I mean, who is the best player that Dombrowski traded away? I mean, with the exception of I guess the Sale trade. But that one, you can't even say anything about that trade because that trade worked out for both teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Kimbrel trade. I mean, Margot maybe was the best player out of that. The trades that he made.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell are the Red Sox?
Logan Allen, he's a pretty good reliever for the Guardians now, but he didn't even end up staying in San Diego.
Yeah. What the hell are the Red Sox going to do with Manny Margot? Honestly, you turn on, you turn on like Sports Hub. They're like, oh, Dombrowski traded all good young players. Like, oh, really, Manny Margot? Like you had, your outfield was at the time was like Mookie, Benintendi, Bradley. You had guys waiting in the wings. Like, what the fuck are you going to do with Manny Margot, dude? Like, the Rays can barely find a spot for him. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, when you have three outfielders like that, and you have like kind of a logjam in your system, it's just like, I mean, at some point, it's like, all right, well, we got to trade somebody to get somebody in here. Like, if we have no use for him, like, what's the point of just hanging on to him and having him play, and not having him in the major league lineup? But yeah, that's
right.
So, but yeah, I mean, going off that. Going off the Wander Franco news, speaking of young, talented players, Jack, you do have the Devers background. We are waiting for his inevitable, long-term contract here for the large Dominican son.
Yeah, I wish it was inevitable. I mean, I feel like if it was going to happen, it should have already happened. I don't see any reason why, kind of hasn't already. So I am a little hesitant of that. You still got, another full 2 years before he hits free agency, but this guy's 25. He's going to hit the market at 27. He's going to make an unbelievable amount of money. So I just hope that, we can just get ahead of the ball a little bit here and not, kind of flub over it, let him hit free agency, and then have him go to, the Dodgers or the Padres or any other team out there.
No, I agree. And the biggest thing you're up against is he's progressing every year, and he's getting more and more power every year, and he plays in a perfect ballpark for his skill set. The last thing you want to see is him go out next year and hit 45 home runs and you didn't extend him. And then when he hits free agency the year after, he's going to get a $300 million contract, plus maybe, so you never know. His ceiling, I still don't think he's actually fully hit his ceiling. His skill set is unbelievable. And you just don't want to see him have a breakout year, even more so than what he's had, and then lose him because of a $300 million contract. They gotta find a way to extend him.
Right. Because like you said, I mean, the longer you wait, that price goes up. And, if you extend him now sooner rather than later, you get a better deal for him. And he's had success in the postseason as well. He's had, we saw it this year as well. He's had some clutch hits in the playoffs, which is exactly what you need as well. So if he's a young player, he produces throughout the regular season and produces in the postseason when the stakes are higher. That's when you go and, you got to get a deal done for him.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's a monster.
Yeah.
He's so clutch. I real quick, yesterday I was watching that Devers, the last game of the season against the Nationals. I mean, he literally willed them to victory in that game. Most important game of the regular season in past, 10 years, and he stepped up huge. So.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, the only thing I might be a little hesitant about is still the defense. It hasn't quite progressed to the point where it's consistent, since you see him make some great plays out there that you're like, if you just got a highlight reel together, you could have sworn this guy won a Gold Glove or two. And then you see him, kind of bobble some routine plays, and the defensive numbers, I do him real bad. I don't think he's quite that bad, but it's very possible that, he might need to switch positions to the left field or first base or even DH down the line. So I don't mind that at all. I want him to just focus on hitting. I want him to hit big boy ding dongs and, use that monster as much as that you possibly can. So I that is the last thing I'm worried about with his bat, but I could see him having to switch positions if he doesn't quite continue to develop at third base.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, I agree. Especially if you extend him, I feel like there's little to no risk regarding his defense, because say hypothetically they sign Schwarber for 3 years, 4 years, whatever. He's going to be your DH. But long term, Devers could be a perfect candidate for DH. When he hits maybe his 29, 30 season, I think he's destined for that position. And no one's really been liked that the Red Sox have developed. No one's been liked as much as this guy, maybe since who?
Yeah.
That actually came through the Red Sox system, developed, was an all-star or a superstar, maybe Nomar. I mean, who have they developed that's been more liked than this guy?
I mean, Mookie.
I would completely disagree. I think Mookie was better, but I don't think he was more liked than Devers. I think Red Sox fans have an absolute love affair with Rafael Devers, including myself. I think he is the most likable guy on the team, and he's clutch. And trust me, I love Mookie. He was a better player, but I don't think he was as liked as Devers.
I can see that. For sure.
Maybe Nomar, but Devers is just loved.
Right. Yeah, and you see that. I mean, obviously, on Twitter, and obviously with Section 10 and the big scoops and the ice cream, joke that they have there. I mean, people do, like I said, people really, really love him, and he's definitely an extremely likable player on this team.
For sure.
As well. So, yeah, so hopefully that extension comes sooner rather than later, and we can get this show on the road here.
Yeah, got to get some moves going. They got they're running out of time. Got to get someone.
Yeah,
hey, we did get somebody. We
Yes.
got 2018's 20th best pitcher, Michael Wacha.
Yep,
Michael Wacha.
We
the
did
big
it.
fish. The
Wacha.
big fish on the market here.
Yep. We got our guy.
Yep. Everybody go home.
Imagine if that was like the Red Sox Twitter would just blow up if like the Sox tweeted out if they tweeted "we got our guy" with like a flame emoji.
Or kind of do what the Chicago Bears did, SP1.
Yeah.
Oh
my God! You have like Felger would have a stroke with Tony Maz.
Yeah, that would be a disaster. Luckily, I know that they're going to do something else.
Right.
And even if, honestly, worst case scenario, say they're done with the rotation. You still have a fairly serviceable rotation, and maybe you can make a move at the deadline. But they still have a lot of holes. Second base, right. First base. You have catcher is a very weak spot offensively. You have too many holes to go into the season with that type of rotation. It's just, it can't happen. So,
and I think Wacha's more of like, he's a good, I guess a good depth piece. Obviously, he's not the guy that I think they're going after. Hopefully, we do get somebody a little bit bigger, like a Stroman or somebody of that caliber. But Wacha's, I guess, good depth piece guy to have, veteran guy, has been around. Obviously he was in Tampa last year. So obviously has that, that Heim Bloom, that Heim Bloom connection. A good, decent depth piece, I guess. Always good to have, obviously guys that you can throw in the rotation.
Yeah.
But obviously not the guy that they're going after in free agency for sure.
Right. Let's hope not.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, he's going to kind of be this year's version of like a Garrett Richards or Martin Perez, where he's going to start off starting. He's probably going to get some times in relief. And I think he's going to be a little bit more okay with it than those other two guys, because if you go to Tampa Bay, you're going to come out of the bullpen at some point, or, you might only face the batting order maybe 1.5, 2 times, and then you're out of there. So I feel like he's kind of on board with whatever role that we might give him this year, which is a great thing. He ended the season really well. I think his last 7 starts, he had like a 2.88 ERA. So hopefully you can just get a little bit more of that momentum going in. from last year, and actually pitch some meaningful innings, even if it's not like Cy Young numbers at the end of the year or anything close.
Right.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, like you said, Jack. He's a guy who knows his role. And I think he's going to be good with whatever we throw at him, and whatever he ends up doing here for the Sox and their rotation. So good depth signing, and hopefully we get some bigger news on the pitching front coming soon in the next couple weeks.
No, and that's going to happen because you saw so many Red Sox fans out there like, this is what we're using to replace Eduardo Rodriguez, and that is not the case at all. I can't believe anybody's actually thinking that. We could have, signed Eddie to a similar contract, maybe
Right.
maybe 1 or 2 less years, because that was probably the reason he ended up going to Detroit. But yeah, no, that was so unbelievable that Red Sox fans thought this was just going to be the only move that we were going to make.
Well,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like LeBeau. I think you brought it up last episode or the episode before, where it's like anytime the Red Sox make a move, like the fans just go fucking crazy, and they're just like you said, Jack. They're like, "Oh, is this the only guy we're signing for the rotation? And is this what we're replacing Rodriguez with?" And like they just go like they just go so crazy after like any little move that they make, and they make it out to be like this big thing.
Yeah, Red Sox.
And they were the same people that were bashing Eddie a few months ago too.
Yeah,
which is the funny.
For sure. They have a tendency to use like time as a instead of looking at things at a whole, like as a whole off season, they'll just see like, oh, Eddie got signed somewhere else, and then they signed Wacha after that. So, that must be Eduardo Rodriguez's replacement, which is obviously not the case. You're talking about two totally different, for one, styles of pitchers, opposites. Second, caliber-wise, not even close. I think Wacha is a direct replacement of Garrett Richards, for sure. I think he is the replacement of Garrett Richards and Martin Perez. I think those are the two guys he's replacing.
Right.
And I don't hate it. And the other thing everyone was complaining about was the $7 million. It's irrelevant. The $7 million is irrelevant. They could have signed him to a 1-year, $100 million contract. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because if they go over the luxury tax, they don't get hit because they were under it. So that 1 year, once the contract comes off the books, it's not gonna matter at all. The more serious issues are the guys you're going to sign to multi-year deals, like the Simeons, the Schwarbers, Baez, whoever they go after. That's where you want to track the money a little more. $7 million is fucking irrelevant. Who cares? It's not your money. They're not going to get hit. It's not going to have any long-term effect on the organization. It's not going to have any effect on who they sign this year. Doesn't matter. I'm glad he got $7 million. Be happy for the guy. Who cares?
Exactly. And yeah, I know we wanted to touch upon Jack. You had mentioned before just the the CBA here and possible work.
Yes.
Yeah.
The impending doom.
Yes.
So according to everybody with any type of cognitive realization, there's going to be a Major League Baseball lockout starting December 1st. It's inevitable at this point. We'll see, how long it lasts. Hopefully, it's done by the time spring training rolls around. We don't have to miss any major league games, but there's so many question marks around it right now that it could go in almost any type of direction. So we'll see. It definitely, that the pandemic didn't help with all the relations between the Players Association and Rob Manfred. So it's going to be rough there for a bit.
Yeah, I'm holding out hope. I don't think it should really impact the games too much. I think they'll figure it out. I think at this point, especially because of COVID, neither side wants to have an actual stoppage in games. But free agency, players signing deals, that's going to have a big impact. And we'll see how long that lasts. Hopefully, it's not too long, but I think it's going to be at least a little while. I think, like you said, the relationship is damaged, so hopefully they can kind of fix that a little bit and go from there. I mean, we'll see. I think at the end of the day, on the other side, though, there's going to be a DH for the National League. I think that's almost a guarantee. And that's going to change the market completely for guys like Schwarber, everyone. So,
oh, definitely.
I think both sides actually want that.
I agree.
And they should. It's stupid not to have one, in the NL there. And, I know, Jack, you had mentioned too, before is, with the CBA expiring, before December 1st, there were, options available for, those bigger names to want to sign, before as well. So,
I mean, we're at the deadline here.
Right.
What is it? The
28th
now.
Yeah.
We have like 2-3 days. So
yeah,
unless if something really just kind of manifests itself over the next kind of 24 hours, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to see a lot of guys out there in limbo. You'll probably see kind of more signings like Michael Wacha, or even, kind of like a middle piece like Eddie out there where they want to get in. I think actually Stroman would be a guy that, just kind of wants to find his home before then, whether it's with us, whether it's with any number of teams out there. So we'll see, a good amount of traction over the next few days, but we're also going to see a lot of guys just kind of wait and see how things end up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like you mentioned, LeBeau. I mean, like you mentioned with Schwarber, it kind of changes things for him completely. If the NL does have a DH spot, now you're really opening up to a number of teams, an entire league,
right.
that he has options to go to. So that's going to be big. Maybe a guy like him waits, till after things are settled to sign.
Yeah. No, I think it could be twofold for a guy like Schwarber, where there may be teams that already signed their DH before the December 1 deadline. But on the other end of that, like you said, now he might have 25 teams looking at him as opposed to 10. So that could be, that could be interesting for him. I think that I think he strikes me as a guy that probably will sign before, or at least try to. I think a lot of guys are going to try to. So that's why these next few days are going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of rumors, a lot of things flying around.
Yeah.
But after the deadline, we'll have a better idea of who's going where.
Yeah. And we also have some semi-breaking news. So this is from John Heyman, so let's take it with a grain of salt. Top free agent starter Max Scherzer is expected to make his decision before the impending December 1st lockout. Dodgers, Giants, Angels, Mets among teams in. So I don't think he would end up going to the Sox. I mean, it's not a bad fit, but there's other better fits out there. I think we talked about this a bit before, but yeah, no, like it's going to be, those 2-3 year deals. It's not going to be, the 7, 8, 9 plus for Baez and Correa and some like Robbie Ray and those type of guys.
Sure. Right. No, I agree.
And the Giants were in on him at the deadline, I believe. So they'll obviously in on him again through free agency. And obviously the Angels that are obviously desperate for pitching as well.
They need to do something. Yeah.
And they're doing the dang thing. Did you guys see what they did in the last draft where every single one of their 22 round picks were pitchers?
Yeah.
I absolutely love that for them, though. I think that's great.
You respect it because at the end of the day, you're going to hit on one of those guys. And you only need to hit on one, and you have a successful draft. Nobody cares what the other 20 picks were. If you hit on one guy and he becomes an all-star, then the rest does not matter. So I respect the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Dude, attack your needs. Attack them.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's obviously big news for in the starting pitching front with a guy like Max Scherzer, who's one of the big fish that's out there in free agency this year. So he's got some options here. So we'll see what happens before the December 1st deadline, if any of the other big names end up signing in the next couple of days as well. So it's going to be a lot of big news coming up in the next few days.
For sure.
And a lot of Mets owner disappointment from broken promises.
I'm glad you brought that up. That
unprofessionalism from agents. That was the absolute most Mets thing that could have happened in that exact moment right there. So I'm glad that it's a never-ending train of hilarity.
It's a never-ending train.
Like LeBeau, you talk about it all the time, is, the Yankees not being able to get out of their own way. And it's the same thing with the Mets. I feel like everything that happens with that organization just completely blows up. And
dude, it's crazy. It's all of New York. Like, what's
Yeah.
happening? It's I would say the only clean organization in New York is like the Rangers, maybe in the Islanders,
Yeah.
which it's so easy to be clean in hockey because you're under less of a microscope. But dude, all the Knicks have problems. The fucking Jets, the Giants are a joke. The Yankees are a joke. The Mets are a joke. It's like everyone is just like, you just can't get out of your own way over there. I don't understand it. I mean, for the biggest market in sports, it's not going great.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. I mean, there's so much history and so much, there's so many great organizations, well, great teams in those organizations are great and they're historic and been around for years. And it's just, man, they just cannot get out of their own way. And they've just been in such turmoil. It's unbelievable.
It really is. It's hilarious.
I'm sure the media is handling it great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm sure everyone's doing fine. Everyone's good there. Sports radio is going swimmingly there.
Well,
Newspapers are good.
They like the media. They create a lot of these things because they make more money when shit like this happens. More listeners, more people. When the teams aren't winning, the only thing to drum up interest and get people to listen is these scandals, these different things that happen. Not necessarily scandals, small things.
Right.
So that's New York. Boston's different, but it's similar but different.
Right.
The difference is we've actually been winning this century. Like, how many titles does Boston have? You got 6 from the Patriots. You got 4 from the Pats. Celtics and Bruins have 1 apiece too. So even when they're winning, sometimes you still see them just try to create that controversy, just to drum up interest. But there was a while before the Patriots and the Sox in the early 2000s where that was us. I mean, and it's obviously so much different with social media and the internet now, but like back in the 90s, it was just all sports WEI. I don't even think the hub was quite around yet.
No.
So
Nope.
that was just really what people got their information from, other than like the newspaper, whatever the fuck that is.
Right. Yeah. The informational age made the microscopes get much bigger. So the big market teams, it's helped them because the outreach has been better, but it's also hurt them in the sense that you can't even make the slightest wrong move, or there's a bunch of people that are waiting to criticize you, including people like us. I mean, think about how many people like us there are, not just these big outlets, but like smaller, whether it be podcasts or blogs, just random fucking Twitter accounts. People have made like with 100,000 followers out of nowhere because they just post shit like Boston Strong, like that guy. He's like,
that
dude, he just posts shit. He doesn't. He's got some scoops.
Like, I know, like we at least show our faces on our podcast. Like we don't hide behind any anonymity. Like we want people to know that we're sexy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's a personality thing. He's just posting shit. Like, he has like 40,000 followers on Twitter and Instagram, and he's just posting Red Sox content. Like, that's amazing that you can do that in this day and age. Like, it just wouldn't happen 20 years ago. I think it's cool, but that's the impact that it has. And the Yankees have like 10 times more of those than the Red Sox. Like, random people trying to break stories. Like, it's just a fucking mess over there. It really is.
Oh, like the Gary Sanchez world. Like,
RBW,
oh yeah, no, Matt Olson. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. We're like, trust me, I heard from his Ryan Healy's cousin that was at the wedding. They're just waiting to announce it afterwards, so that way it doesn't get in the way. But it's done. Trust me.
Yep. And then he the people ran him off of Twitter and told him go kill himself. And he outed his sources.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, Yankee fans were literally kill yourself. It was horrible. And then, so he outed his sources. He posted screenshots of his information that he got. And then that was it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You're just that's a death sentence.
Just log off the internet forever. Just make a new account. You have to start over. You're moving to a new town. You're changing your name. You're in witness protection. Right. You're out of here. You're done. You're done.
Seriously though, Yankee fans, do not tell them they're getting a left-handed power bat and then not come through. They will fucking hunt you down. No, literally, if you saw some of the screenshots, it's hilarious. What's your address?
Jesus
Christ. Dude, Yankee fans are fucking brutal. They're brutal.
Don't tell them
horrendous.
Don't tell them that Brent Gardner's not going to re-sign with them. They will fuck you up.
Yeah, there's so much content when you do this and you're a Red Sox fan, because there's so much content that Yankee fans produce that you can make fun of. It's never ending.
Yeah. I think that's really what we've built our success on so far, is just shitting on the Yankees.
Yeah.
And Bronxy.
Yeah, Bronxy. That's a big one.
Yep.
Fuck
he
him.
could die again. Fuck him.
Yeah. I know cats have 8 lives, but turtles do not.
Yeah.
No, they don't. That's why he's fucking dead.
Yeah. If I see Bronxy at our fucking Red Sox game next year, I'm going to punt that fucking thing.
Like Johnny Gomes after that walk-off.
Yeah, with the helmet.
Yeah. That might need to be a Photoshop.
Yes, please. Please.
Yeah.
Please. Oh, shit.
And then, I remember this picture of all of them looking at the helmet as it was going. They're Will Middlebrooks, who's pointing to it. That's the 2021 Red Sox looking at Bronxy.
No, Bronxy died returning to his home planet.
Oh, fuck.
Not to ending a show with Bronxy hate. That's perfect.
I know. I feel like that and Cold Mountain Dew are just never gonna die now.
Nope.
Yep.
And we're gonna have listeners once we even more listeners once we get bigger and bigger, which is gonna happen. I mean,
of course.
So just get ready for it. So that are gonna have to listen back to these old episodes and be like, what the fuck are these guys even talking about here?
Yep.
So
or
we're
just
really laying out some good groundwork for the listeners that have been loyal to us since day one.
Yep, absolutely.
Or just once the season starts, and if Kyle Schwarber ends up re-signing and we talk about, cold now Mountain Dew, and people are just starting to listen, they're just going to be like, what the fuck?
They got to listen back.
Cold now Mountain Dew.
Yep.
that Shannon Sharp gift, I'm just
yeah, that is. That's what the whole Schwarber family sounds like when they were pouring the Mountain Dew gravy on the turkey.
Yep.
Yeah, let me go ahead and find this here. I need to watch it for the 10 millionth time.
Dude, it.
You lose it, you never
And the fact that it's actually Mountain Dew too.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh,
we got to get Shannon Sharp on.
Yeah, big Mountain Dew guy over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have some more guests on, including
we will.
Some people. We're this is dropping a little tease. Nothing's confirmed yet, but we're making moves. So we want to do it for the listeners here.
GM LeBeau is interested.
We're
interested. Yeah, we're interested.
We are literally interested in anybody if you want to come on our podcast.
Yes. Yep.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. I did want to ask you this before we went off. What are your top 3 gets that you want to get? You could interview like any living Red Sox or sports media personality for this podcast. I want to hear who they are.
Okay. Galveo, you go.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody? I think Johnny Damon would be really cool. I feel like he's got a lot of good stories, especially from that like 04 team. I feel like he'd be good. He's kind of fucking crazy, but I feel like he'd be pretty good. Let's see. Who else? I feel like maybe like a Josh Beckett or a John Lackey would be pretty cool too.
John Lackey, absolutely. John Lackey wouldn't. I think with both of those guys, neither of them would hold back.
No.
Right.
No.
Josh. And then, Josh Beckett and John Lackey, they would definitely let it fly, either one of them. And then,
You want us to skip and come back?
Yeah, I'll come back to my.
I got my 3 ready to rock. I'm not gonna get too cute.
Okay.
If I could pick any 3, it would be Manny, Nomar, and Pedro. They're the reason I'm here right now. The reason I do this, and they're the reason I watch 100 and some odd games a year. So 100% Manny, Nomar, and Pedro. Ortiz would be cool. Don't get me wrong. Ortiz would be cool, but Ortiz for me, he came like a little later. So like I was already like knee deep in as a Red Sox fan when they got Ortiz, and like don't get me wrong, he's probably my favorite Red Sox of all time. But those guys are like the reason I'm a Red Sox fan. So.
I think for me, I'm not going necessarily based off of skill, even though I'm about to pick up some like Hall of Famers in this as well. Just based off of like who would be a great interview, I would actually want to ask some questions to, and would actually give us like some fun stories. So the first one is Dennis Eckersley. I think that's even possible, maybe down the road. I think he's had a really interesting story, especially with his battle with alcoholism and, kind of turning his life around. So I think he would be, a really cool guy to talk to about a lot of that different type of stuff and, his post-playing career in the booth as well. Second guy, just absolute guy being a dude, Wade Boggs. I mean, of course, like he's a like Hall of Fame player, one of the best contact hitters of all time, even won a few Gold Gloves. But like, I just want to know like all about the actual like eating a whole chicken and drinking 100 beers.
Yeah.
And like,
great
like what he's been doing since like he's stopped playing. Cause like you kind of see him in like different types of like media and everything. Like he was on Always Sunny and like he's just kind of living out his best life right now, retired. So I think he would be a really fun guy to talk to. And then the last, this is a complete opposite direction, but just based off of like, I've never really heard an interview with him, like kind of in this environment, like a John Henry or like a Tom Warner or even like a Larry Lucchino, where like you can ask them, some things that, maybe somebody's never asked them before. It's kind of more a relaxed thing. We're not grilling them about the state of the team or anything like that, where like I would actually want to see more of like the personal side of them and, actually kind of open up to the fan base more than in years past.
No, I agree. That was a very, very good 3. Very well thought out answer. I would totally agree. That's a lot of like, I think that's a good combination of you get some personality there, but you also can get some insight about, how it was and what happened when like for Boggs and Eckersley, like how it was when they were players. Eckersley now, on kind of the other side, which is the media. So that's a cool perspective to see both sides, for sure. Delvey, who's your third?
I feel like I would say either Tito or even like a Theo Epstein would be I feel like it would be a good one too.
Yeah. No, definitely. I agree. That era of Red Sox baseball, they were like the fucking Jonas Brothers and the Beatles combined. Like those teams were so popular. I remember in the Francona book, there was like when Tito was about to get fired, there was like a helicopter over his house. Like, dude, that shit's crazy. Like talking about a baseball team.
I feel like those guys just got some great stories, and that was such a great era of Red Sox baseball. Like right when they they won it in 04, and then 07. Like that's when they were really starting to create like this dynasty that they have now with these 4 championships. That era kind of started it all. So that would be like I feel like they've got some really really great stories.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I think that that about does it for this episode here. So obviously it's a good one, and we'll be back next week. I think we're gonna start doing Sundays from now on. I think you guys were mentioning too. So yeah, so it should be good, and yeah, we're looking forward to obviously some of the news here before the deadline here, December 1st. So we'll be back next week with all that kind of stuff. If anything happens between now and then, and yeah, well, it'll be good. So that's episode 7 in the books.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Don't forget to review us on iTunes, 5 stars. It's great if you listen on Spotify or on YouTube as well, but obviously that one's going to help us out the most. I know we've talked about that on here before, but just thank you guys for listening again. Definitely share us around. We always appreciate the retweets, the shout outs, just even telling your friends or family about it. So hopefully, continue to grow, and the more we grow, the more cool content we can do with our, time and everything around here.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully we get some more scoops for you next time. Maybe a few more breaking news pieces. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully we have some more things to talk about on the Red Sox front. Maybe get
exactly.
a few guys on the books here. And again, we appreciate all of you, but definitely keep sharing, keep liking, keep retweeting, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right. Peace.